What's up, people? Welcome back to Game Told. As I said, my name is JR. I'm consulting in the music business, and today I've got a very good friend of mine. Someone who taught me a lot of the ropes. Been through thick and thin together. We've been to war in the trenches. You know, Turkish Decipher.
What's happening, bro?
He's also a distributor. He's also a DJ. He's also producer, mixer, masterer, extraordinaire. I brought him on. This is his first live stream ever. So
it sounds like a lie, right? This guy does everything.
He does everything, yeah. Well, you are Turkish, so you know.
A&R, consultant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
African and Turks do everything, so yeah.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Anyway, so today, I want to discuss obstacles you've come across in the music business. I've got a few. I know me and you will share a few stories anyway that we can elaborate on. But what would you say would be your biggest obstacle ever? Most memorable one.
That's a hard one, man. I think you know what? It's really hard because I want to just start spitting them out. But the question's a really good one, and it deserves a little thought. But I think rather than like one particular obstacle, I think the theme of the obstacle that I've experienced a lot is more about us versus them, right?
And who would us versus them be? Who is us and who is them?
So us is anybody trying to do something, anybody trying to better their situation, trying to get into the game, trying to I suppose learn, further themselves. And if you're not in the circle or in the clique, and there's so many circles and cliques, because we've been in circles where we couldn't get, we were cool, and we were in the, like, anything we did was instantly recognizable, but then we couldn't get a record on certain radio station because we weren't in that clique. You see what I'm saying?
100%.
So we were literally part of the hottest thing in the streets at a time, and we couldn't get, we had to, because we were who we were and the relationships we had, we were getting the equivalent of playlist plays off of Specialist Radio. So we were getting like 10 plays a week.
Just for the people that don't understand, what exactly is Specialist Radio?
So Specialist Radio is like your mix shows, like your what you would consider like what Westwood had, what Semtex had, like Shorty Blitz, MK, and that's across the different stations, or the different commercial stations.
So basically
around the country.
So basically, the shows that didn't have to follow the playlist, radio playlist, and
they didn't have. Yeah, they didn't have to.
Radio and not drive time radio. Anything after drive time, basically.
Yeah, anyone who had free reign of their show, and they didn't have to play anything that they didn't want to play. So we were in a good place with those DJs, and we continue to have those relationships. But in terms of that 40 plays a week on, like, during the drive time or during the daytime when everyone's at work listening to the radio, that's kind of the place where hit records are made. And
that spoke on that on another video, and how crucial it was. Yeah,
at that time,
it was back in the days. Yeah.
Yeah, at that time it was everything. If you wanted to get a top 40 record, if you got a top 40 record without it, like you think about it, we had a top 20 record and a top 10 record without it, and then those same stations jumped on it when we were in the midweek.
After had the success.
Yeah, like we were in the midweek, and then they jumped on it because it of an embarrassment. How can these lot have that without
our involvement?
Yeah, right. So I would say that's one of the us versus them examples that we had to deal with we had to significantly deal with that over a period of time. But I think it's the same thing. It's just it's clicks, and I'll give one example which you're aware of because we went through it together. Is we had a feature on an album we were releasing from a big American artist, and that artist's record label was like, no, you can't release this. And we were like, what do you mean we can't release it? No, you're not allowed to release it. We're not going to give you permission. And so that was kind of like, we're a big record label telling you small independent guys, because remember, we've been independent since 2004, right? So they use their weight to lean on us. It's like, you can't do that. So that's us versus them.
And this was
But
after
they
the
didn't.
video was shot and everything else.
Yeah. But
Money had been
what
spent. Mhm.
yeah, but what they didn't realize was they had released an album which went #1 in America that had our guy on it. So we had to, like, they didn't, and they never had no paperwork. So we were like, yeah, no, I think you're gonna find that you're gonna clear this record. And as soon as it hit the lawyers, it was like, all right, cool, yeah, you can have the feature, because they knew that they were in a position where they were in we were in an actionable position, right?
Right.
But if that never happened, we just moved to them politely, like, yo, clear the record. Then they gave us Pompous, and then we gave them what we used to give them, or what we can give them, because we knew the position that we were in. So that us versus them, not everybody is like us, and not everybody's going to be in that position where they're going to be able to say, well, actually, if you don't do this, we're gonna get you with that. So let's just all be cool. Everybody be normal, as somebody I know, a great person I know would say. Everybody be cool. Everybody be normal.
Cool. All right. So you've touched on a great example of an obstacle you've come across. I just want to double back a bit. So you mentioned clicks. You mentioned BBC. You mentioned major labels.
I ain't never said no.
No. Okay, I'm mentioning BBC. Yeah. The question is about the BBC actually.
Okay, go on.
Now the BBC is supposed to be public. It's for the public.
We pay for it. Yeah, you pay tax.
Yeah, we pay for it.
I pay tax. Yeah, we pay for it.
Everybody's taxes go towards the BBC. So why would there be clicks within the BBC and that still be allowed? Because you won't say it, but I will. And I've touched on it already. There are a few gatekeepers within the BBC who are playing God. And I've done a video on this already. Who are playing God with people's careers. And they will dangle carrots and tell you, look, they'll grant you a listening. Listen to your project and say, we think this should be the single, that should be the single, this should be the single. Like, blatantly telling you that they love what you're doing and they're going to support it, as they should.
Yeah.
And then you turn around and do exactly what they asked for. And they say, nah, we've moved on. We're not really playing that stuff. After you've paid a plugger, £800 a month independently, £800 a month for 5 months. After you've shot the video, you put marketing behind it, a bit more spend behind it, and they turn around and do that. Now, I understand if Capital or one of the other private radio stations did that, but BBC were known for doing that. BBC Radio 1, especially, were known for doing that. Now, how did they get away with stuff like that when you're supposed to be for the public and for the people? And I know they always used to have this thing where listener's choice or BBC's next to blow and stuff like that, and say, look, we're helping, but really and truly you're not. You were helping the signed artists who were signed to major labels than you were things. So how did they get around doing that?
I think that I don't think it's a case of getting around it. I think it's a case of they just didn't care. Like, so but
that's what I'm saying. But how come there was no accountability for somebody not caring about public property, if you want to put it that way?
Well, that's the thing, is the accountability comes, but there are a few examples that we can't really speak about where somebody or a group of people were doing certain things in that station.
This is Game Told. I'm going to out all of them. You don't.
Okay.
Not today, but as time goes on.
Maybe that next episode, yeah. But there is usually accountability, But I think it's the same thing. It's not so much even just about the BBC. It's like if you're in the, you might have an A&R, and this is not even just for our music. This is just for like the whole thing, right? You have an A&R at Sony who been there for 3 years, absolutely shagged. Heart was in the right place, but like it didn't work in it. When that guy gets fired, he ends up at Warner's for another 3 years and just does the same thing. And this is like from
Until it
directors,
works.
presidents. No, and sometimes it never works. But it's because it's a click thing. So it's like the old boys always hire their friends, or like don't worry, bro, you'll be all right. It's them ones. It's like, I suppose, something happening to me, and then you're there for me. Like, yo, don't worry, I got you. Right? They do that with them man in jobs. So like it's the same thing. It's like a guy that used to work at the radio is now this, or then he's, or somebody at a label who used to work in the marketing department is now an artist management, but working with a big management company in, let's say, Talyard, or you know what I mean. It's just everybody builds relationships. Exactly. And I'm not, what I'm saying is it isn't even really a bad thing. It's a bad thing, but it's not, because you are
Hey, we benefited from that before.
yeah,
I
you're
have. I know I
exactly
have. So yeah, 100%. Yeah.
exactly. You're as strong as your relationships, and you know, like, and your relationships are as strong as how visible you are, I suppose. You know what I mean? If I disappeared for 3 years and even you didn't see me, it would be like, oh, what's T doing? But you can see what I'm doing. I mean, you know what I'm doing, but you can see what I'm doing if you follow me. You'd be like, oh, okay, he's active, he's doing something, right? And I think that, I don't know, man. I think it is kind of like getting where you fit in sometimes. I think the us versus them thing doesn't really apply in that instance, but it definitely applies in the when
Right.
when the when the
Okay.
big when the big company
Cool.
tries to lean on the little people, and
Right.
sometimes the little people have got big hearts, as we've
Right.
we've proven time and time again.
Of course. Cool. All
Yeah.
right. So we'll move on to the next step. All right. So that's from an independent standpoint. So I recall a story. Now, this. I want to move on to another obstacle that an employee in the music business might face. Somebody who works
Mm.
for a label and stuff. So I remember a time when you were working at Universal
Yeah, yeah,
a few years ago. You said to
yeah.
me, Mariah Carey's Emancipation of Mimi
Hmm.
has been out and it's been doing really well.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't hit a million, if it doesn't sell a million more records,
Mm.
a million times more by December, and this was around this time actually, August, September. If it
Mm.
doesn't sell a million records between now and December, at least 60 people are going to lose their jobs.
Did I say that? I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, maybe I'm getting the numbers wrong, but a lot of
No,
people
yeah,
are going to
yeah,
lose
yeah.
their jobs. A lot of people are going to lose their jobs
There were a lot of people
in
losing
the whole
jobs at that
building,
time.
and that's across
Yeah,
different labels, not just
that's
the
true. Yeah,
label.
there was a
Yeah.
lot of people losing their jobs at the
So,
time. Yeah,
and I'm sure this has happened many times.
yeah.
Now you left on your own accord, so
But yeah,
that didn't
I
affect
left
you.
because I left because it was the time to leave.
Yeah,
Like we we
exactly,
were we were in a good place.
exactly. So you've known some of these people who have gotten the axe,
Yeah,
didn't expect it, didn't see it coming, hadn't prepared, and it happened.
yeah, yeah.
Can you walk us through? Can you tell us a story or walk us through the procedure of how it happened and how harsh it can be and how
Well,
it affected some of these people?
it's like when I was working at that place, there were three MDs. So at the time, the MD was the person who ran the label, right? I think they changed it to president now, right? Because when we were at Ireland, D was the president. But at the time that I was employed there were three MDs. The one that started is
Mm-hmm.
he was like an old school guy, like old school, like signed. What's my man play the piano?
Stevie Wonder.
Nah, white guy with the wig or the hair plants. Rocket Man.
Oh,
Phil Elton
Elton John.
John. Yeah. So he was like, because he had done that, he was good forever, right? Or so he thought. Or so
Yeah,
he thought. And so I'm just talking from the really senior level. The way they would make man disappear, it was crazy. So 3 MDs while I was working there, I was there for like 6, 7 years, and 3 MDs were fired, like three. So he got the axe like I think like a year and a half into my role. That was weird. I think, but they would quantify it in a certain way because he was an OG. His wages was probably wild. Like it was probably like, yo, we gotta let him go. And then
it's
the
like
second guy that,
Özil and Arsenal situation, right? Yeah.
yeah. So the second MD, he was the one that because I was young, like I was like a, I would say I wouldn't even say a young man. I was a kid, right? And then he was the one who was like, yo, I'm gonna invest in you. And so I think he was there for like 3 years. Then he finally started. I started to get some responsibility in that kind of, yo, the MD is gonna support what you're doing. And then, bro, my man went up to the fifth floor. Yeah, he went up to the fifth floor and never came back. Bro. I'm telling you, they disappeared him, bro. It was
When
mad.
you say fifth floor, they gave him a job on the fifth floor,
No,
and
no, like
or
so it's like the first on the fifth floor of this building, it was like the head of Universal was up there, like in his office. Like you go up there and it was like, like the devil's advocate.
isn't that where we had the meeting?
That was the building after.
Oh, okay,
But
sorry, the
yes,
building after.
yeah,
Yeah.
but this was the building before, the
Mm-hmm.
one that was in Hammersmith near
Kensington.
the
Sorry,
flyover.
Hammersmith, not Kensington. Yeah.
But same principle. You see how we went
Yes.
on to the
Yeah.
top floor of Island to see
Mhm.
my man. Not Island, sorry, Universal to see my
Universal.
man. Yeah. It was the same principle up there. He went up there and never came back. And then there was an email saying, "Yo, this person is no longer working. We're gonna." And I think he even said it in the email. I remember reading it. I was like, "Yo, this is wild," because they were like, "Don't worry, we're gonna take care of him." I said, "That's fine." So it
And what
was.
did he
It was
do? Nothing. Nothing.
no, I mean, he like it at the time. I mean, it's going back a while. I remember he wasn't great. But it wasn't that like all I cared about was the stuff that we were working at the time. I was young. All I cared about, yo, we're doing Def Jam, we're doing Rockefeller, we're doing like Murder
Yeah.
Rig. Believe it or not, at the time, Joel was one of the biggest rappers in the world,
Oh, yeah, I
right?
remember that.
So, so, but we were doing all of that stuff. We were doing, like you said, we were doing Mariah Carey, we was doing Ashanti, we were doing some really, really cool stuff. Redman, Method Man, and that's all I cared about. I didn't care about the other 80% of the stuff that was happening in the label because I didn't have to worry about the guitar music because it
Right.
wasn't in my remit. But he had to worry about all of that. But this is at a point where the guitar music and all of that stuff was on the decline. So, like you said, when you was talking about they have to hit a certain number by and Christmas like is usually, especially back then, that was the busiest time because that was where like Christmas season. So all of the big releases when people used to do Christmas shopping and go HMV and Virgin and all that stuff, they will. That was when they would hold back their big releases because that's when people were spending a lot of money. So that's where a version of what you said. I probably said that it's kind of like, yo, they need to sell a lot of records this quarter
To
or
keep, in order for people to keep their jobs.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Wow.
I
Okay.
I was cool because I weren't expensive. I was the kid, so they just gave me some stupid money, but I was happy to be in the building.
Right. Okay. So from a live perspective, what sort of obstacles do you think an artist, DJ like yourself, or anybody involved in that sort of in those circles can experience?
From a live perspective,
Yeah. Do people have
um,
you have you heard of somebody being blocked from doing a show? Somebody stepping in and stopping someone from getting a show, or a
yeah,
venue
definitely.
stopping someone from getting booked? I know that
The
happens for some
the
people
the
where
the
they can get
police,
booking anywhere.
the police. That's a good
Yeah,
one. The
police, of
police
course.
was
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's right.
the police will shut you down quickly. The police
Yeah,
will the
I remember there was a situation with gigs, wasn't there, back in the days,
they
where they
with
wouldn't
him
let him
with
do a show.
a few of like for about 2-3 years, like maybe even longer. Like they did it with Scraps in them. It's like, yeah, sold out show. Yeah, that's got you can't do that, and everybody's got to get their
And the
money back.
reason behind it,
They say it's risky,
yeah,
but then why are you letting us book the venue? Why are you letting us sell tickets? Why are you waiting until the day of to send us an email saying, yo, this ain't gonna happen tonight?
and they'll always come at the 23rd hour as well, wouldn't they, to stop
20,
everything?
25th hour sometimes, bro. The man
Yeah,
man are queuing. Man are there, bro. But I think that's a big obstacle if you're in that part of our music. If you're in the real street stuff and you're from that thing where it's kind of like, yo, I'm trying to leave that thing, but you're not allowing me to leave that thing. I
yeah.
think that's definitely an obstacle we've
Almost
all
they
seen.
set you up, innit?
I think it's never happened to me, but I've heard
Yeah.
about some people who have been like, yo, if you book this person, I'm not doing it. And that
Well,
person who
sorry,
might,
on other artists will say, I'm not doing it.
yeah, and those artists are big enough that that person wouldn't get booked. Like I've heard about that. Like I've heard about that through friends who are like managers of the artists that didn't get booked.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I think from a what's his name perspective, from like a new artist trying and facing obstacles or trying to get on, I would say it's more a case of like the obstacle is how do I get shows? You know what I mean? How do I get shows? So you have like a new artist who's not popping yet, but is working hard, trying to do their thing, the he, she, whatever, whoever, and
Yeah.
and then it's like they're not really able to get like a booking agent yet because they ain't done enough. So what are those obstacles like? How do I make myself hot? How do I make anybody care?
Mm.
So I think that's a really big obstacle for anybody.
100%, yeah, definitely. No, but that's an obstacle that everybody has to go through. It might
Everybody
be
has to go
easier for
through.
one
Yeah,
person or not, but it might be easier if you're signed and your label has great contacts or you have a really good booking agent and stuff like that. But it's
yeah,
still an obstacle for that everybody will go through. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
what's my favorite saying in this business?
Don't watch me watch TV.
Eh? Apart from that one, in this game, everybody pays their dues, right?
Oh yeah, everybody.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's you.
you know what I
That's
mean.
you. That's facts.
So
That's facts. You
yeah,
have to pay your dues, and
yeah.
and that's coming from someone who like you've been there when like man were doing £50 shows and driving back. Like we had enough money to get everybody home and get like a late Chinatown munch. You know what I mean? And then you
And
saw
you
it
do it
go
all
from
over
that.
again.
Exactly. You saw it go from that to 3 bills to 6 bills to a bag to 2 bags, and then you seen it where it's like, wow, like man ain't jumping on the train anymore. Like I remember one time we went Newcastle and we went with, I'll put him on blast, but we went with Tan Man and he didn't have a ticket, but he got bullied into jumping on the train in the first place because somebody was like, yo, just roll, man, just roll. And then he got gassed, jumped on the train to Newcastle. And then he was just back and forth in the toilet for like the whole journey. And I was just like, this is long, bro. I
I know
couldn't
that
do,
you can't even enjoy the ride. Eh? What
I
the
couldn't
hell?
do that, bro. I
Newcastle's
couldn't do
far.
it.
Newcastle's not far
Newcastle's
from
far.
Scotland.
Yeah,
But those were good nights. So Newcastle were always a good night. Shout out to
yeah,
Matt
yeah.
Lovedo.
Shout out to
What was the
Love
night
though,
called?
yeah. Love
Oh,
though.
Lovedo, innit? Yeah, Lovedo was the
Yeah,
night.
yeah.
And the promoter
It
was
was
Matt. Yeah, we did a lot of
yeah,
shows
yeah.
with them. Yeah, shout out to them.
Yeah.
Went to Ibiza with them as well, remember? So yeah,
IB for yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah.
All right. So also one other thing that I think can be an obstacle is
Yeah.
management. You
Yeah.
get managers who try and they see their artists as the be all end all and they're the best and they're this and they're that, but
Yeah.
and then start to run their mouth. I've heard of managers sabotaging deals. I've heard of management ruining relationships between two artists who wanted to collab, who did collab, and they just ruined everything. And then it's like, you know what, forget it. Like so many times. Like, so that could be an obstacle as well. Can you give us a good story about one of the ones you've heard? I know you got some like one.
Bruv, managers are when you got a good manager, you're good. You're in a good place. I think sometimes you have like your manager's your boy, right? And if you don't have no experience, that's also dangerous because it's like, you know, sometimes people are always trying to get the quick money, and like even recently, like there's a young guy that I'm helping out, wicked producer, and he put out a record, and then he got a remix done by somebody who is a pretty cool artist. I think he signed to like Parlophone, like something like that, and the guy did a remix, and it was just all good. The remix was finished, and then the manager got involved, and all of a sudden was asking for money, and then it was kind of like
asking for money from the producer.
For asking for money from the original artist who's a producer, yeah. So it was a remix of his record. So I'm helping him. So I was like, there's no talk of money. It's just like there's 3 other people who've done remixes, and it's just like it's all good. Like everybody like is a fair split on royalties. We even created publishing for the remixes so that they could eat off of that as well. And they weren't even asking for a lot, but it was more than this guy had to spare. So it was like all of a sudden he was asking for £500, and I know people's values. So I'm like, you've just started producing because he's a vocal artist. You just started producing. You're not worth £500 as a producer. You're not singing on the record. So you're charging £500 as a producer. You're not worth that, right? And you're talking about money after the fact. So I said to the artist, I was like, yo, his manager's just trying to get money so that he can get some money. So the manager can get some money. But if you think about that, £500, you're making as a manager, how much of that is yours? £100, right? So you're making you're 20%. So you're creating you're creating this situation which is going to stop a record from happening because you've changed the energy. And this record's not going to happen now because you're trying to get a bill. A bill. I'm not saying that a bill is not a lot of money, but really, as grown-ups, it's not a lot of money, bro.
But sometimes they're looking out for their artist's best interest, aren't they? It's not.
But that's not looking out for your artist's best interest.
But in this case, yeah, okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but there's times where you have to fight for the financial side, but that wasn't the time because of the way that no one's got no money in this situation. Everyone's just making a record, and everyone's gonna get if we pay you for the record, then you ain't gonna get nothing. You ain't gonna get no royalty, and you ain't gonna get no publishing because we're paying you for a remix now. So take your £500 and shut the fuck up, right? But if you just be cool, just be normal, you get 50% of whatever this remix makes forever. You get 50% publishing.
Even
on
after
a
you
record.
die, you can leave it to your kids or whoever.
That's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So it's almost like investing in yourself as a producer. That's how I saw it. So I advised the artist. I was like forget it. That's long. Like you can pay them, but it's long. Like the energy is wrong. Like you just have to be like, yo, you know what? Best of luck. Like we'll see you there. We'll see you over there. You know what I mean? When we all make it, we'll see you there. We'll celebrate together.
100%, yeah. Mad.
There was another one as well, which was similar, but and I was thinking about it as I was telling that story, and I was like, oh, that would be a good one too. Oh, all right. So, I was working on a project. This is going back to 2011, 2012, and we had put out a record, But we were in a middle area where we weren't putting out records. We were waiting. We were building
Yeah.
again. But no one was seeing what we was doing. So I had introduced this young lady who was being managed by somebody that I was doing work for. I was doing some stuff with. And this young lady was cool, and I introduced her to our situation, right? I introduced her to stuff that we were doing, and she ended up being on the chorus to one of the biggest records that we put out. And you still there? I think we lost him. Yeah, you're upside down. You there? Okay. So
Sorry, I can't hear you.
can you hear me?
Can
What
you
about
hear
now?
me?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Can you hear me? I can't hear
Yep.
you.
Yep. Can you hear me?
Let me see. Maybe something's wrong here. All right. Let me see.
1 2.
1 second. I've muted you quickly.
Yep.
Unmute.
1 2. Can you hear me?
Can you check and see if you've muted yourself or something? Sorry.
Yeah. No, I
What's
haven't.
going on here? I can't hear you. All right.
What about now? What about now?
Let me log you out and then just come back in. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties, people. But just in case you haven't caught up, we're just talking about obstacles that we face in the game. And Turkish has been so kind to run through a few topics. So one of them has been radio. The other was management. The other was other record labels, bigger record labels bullying smaller ones, if you want to put it in those words. What else have we spoken about? He was just talking about, he was just giving us a scenario of when an artist got involved in a situation. An artist manager got involved in a situation he was working for, and just absolutely sabotaged everything. Turkish is back. Yes, I can hear you. Carry on.
All right, cool.
Carry on.
All right, so I started again. So we were working on a record, or we were building records. We were working on another campaign, and I was working with I was doing some work with this manager who had some dope producers and one cool artist, and I introduced the artist to our thing, and she ended up being on a record that was one of the biggest records that we put out as a single. And at the time, we hadn't started our rollout, so to the outside world, it might have been like, "Yo, those guys are quiet. Those guys were a little bit lukewarm, right?" It's like we always have.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So let me reiterate what you're saying.
Yeah.
So you knew of an artist who had a great voice. You were working with one artist. You brought them together. They did a song together, right?
For our thing, yeah.
Yeah, for your thing. Now, the project's getting finished and wrapped up.
Yeah.
And you hadn't started your campaign on the single or whatever, right? That's what you're saying. Okay, so that's where we are. Okay, carry on.
So that's where we're at. Mm-hmm. So now, I'm speaking to the features manager because I know the person, and I'm just like, "Yo, just do a swap," because the girl never wrote anything, so she's getting no publishing, but she's getting a feature credit because of me, because I made that happen, and she's getting obviously a performance royalty because she's performing on the record, right? And I was like, but just do a swap, don't take the money, because she weren't worth a lot. I think it was like really small money, like let's say.
When you say swap, you mean
like a swap is kind.
Jump on my track and I'll jump on yours.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
like whatever I do for you, you do for me.
Right.
So and that's across the board. That's like the swap for the same. Well, not even the same. If you're paying me, then I will pay you. Right. If you're getting 5% royalty, then you'll get 5% royalty as well. And so like basically mirror it. right? Whatever you do for me, I'm gonna do for you. So the money was small. I remember the money was small. It wasn't a lot. It was like, let's say, I don't think it was this, but let's just say it was £300. So I told him, I said, don't do that. Don't take the £300 because I know what we're about to do. I know I had that feeling like, yo, this is gonna happen. Like it's gonna happen again. So I said, don't take the £300. Just take a swap. And this person said to me, I swear to God, this person said to me, like, nah, my man's verse, a verse from my man ain't really gonna worth anything right now. So I'm like, all right, cool. So you're gonna take £300. That's £60 for you. £60, bro. I spent that today, like on just getting home. Like you know what I mean? It's like this. It's nothing in the comparison of like. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying like everyone's rich, but I'm saying
No, but if you're a grown man, grown woman, 60
sixty
pounds
pound
is
is.
not life changing. You know
It's
what I'm saying?
not. It's
Neither is
not.
£300. How much is £300? Is it?
Yeah. So the artist would have
Yeah,
got 240, and he would have got 60.
yeah,
So I'm
exactly.
like,
Yeah,
all right,
when you can
cool.
just go ahead and go make good songs together, and
Yeah.
yeah, make
Yeah,
more
exactly. So there's a point of
forever.
like, oh, I,
Yeah.
forever, exactly.
Mhm.
So that happened. A month later, we released the first single, which wasn't this record. It was the first single that they had nothing to do with, and it did really well. And then 3 months later, we released that record, which did even better, right? And our train is moving again, like in a really good way, like a different. We're there. We're like where we deserve to be, or where we're back kind of thing. And then I remember I was in a hotel room in it was like Germany or one of them countries with the artist manager, not the one that I advised, but our artist manager. And his phone rang, and it was this person. It was that manager, and he was phoning up, talking like, "Yo, so when are we gonna get our verse? Right? When are we gonna get our verse?" And it was
Hold on.
wild because,
Okay, so let me recap again.
yeah, go.
I'm not slow, but I just want to, put things into perspective. Okay, so you offered a swap deal.
Yeah.
You do a track for me, and I'll do a.
Mm,
I'll give you a verse as well. You
mm,
give me a verse, I'll give you a verse, and
mm.
then
And then
we
it's
call it
it.
quick.
Yeah.
Or you take £600, yeah,
300.
and
Let's
I
say
pay
three
you,
because I wanted
and I
to. I
don't
wanted
owe
to
you
sound
anything.
shit. Yeah,
What's
exactly.
that? Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So fast forward now, they've
Six
declined.
months later.
Yeah,
Yep.
no, they've declined the swap deal and gone for the
Yeah.
money.
Yep.
They've
And
gone
they've
for the
been paid.
money. Yeah, they've been paid. So that
Mm.
means the swap deal is off the table.
It's
Now,
off the
I do
table.
not owe you
Yeah.
a verse
We
because I
and
paid you.
so
So I paid you like
exactly.
as an employee is, and there you go. I've tried
Yeah.
to give you shares, and you didn't
Yeah.
take it. You wanted
Yeah.
money up front. I've given you what it's worth, what you're
Yeah.
worth at the
Yeah.
time, and that was it. And now fast
Exactly.
forward, you've now shot through the roof, and they've called like,
Mm.
"Yo, when can we get the thing back?"
Yo.
As
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
first conversation didn't happen.
Didn't happen. But now with me, I have like a elephant's memory. I remember everything. Right.
Well,
More or
you don't
less.
even have to have an influence memory because if you paid the money, then you paid the money. You know what I mean? So,
Exactly. But like I said, on that side, I was over here, but I advised him. I said, don't take the money. Don't do that. I told him, I said, don't take the money, do the swap. And then he said to me, nah, that's not worth anything right now. The swap's not worth anything. Right? And I said, yeah, but I know what's gonna happen. Nah, we just want the money. So, all right, cool. Now we're in Germany.
and he's
I'm
called.
hearing he's called the manager. I'm hearing the manager be like, "Ah, mate, like I don't know what you're talking about." The phone call ends, then my phone rings. So he don't know that I'm obviously where we are. We're on tour or whatever. He doesn't know that, but he phones me. He's like, "Yo, T, I'm like, what's going on, bro?" And he's like, "Yo, man, your people them acting up." And I was like, "What do you mean?" But again, like I said, if you know me, I'm very, very honest. I'm just gonna tell you, like, because I said to him, I said, "No, you know what you did. I told you, and this is exactly what you said. I told you what to do, and you did what you wanted to do. So don't call me like people are acting up. No one's acting up. No one owes you anything. You got paid. And I told you don't take the money. I told you take the swap. if you did what I told you to do, you'd be cool now. They would have to give you a 16. But they don't have to give you a 16. There's no victims here. And then he was like, no, I said, you said to me that thing's not worth anything. And I told you, don't do that. So you said that. And he was like, did I say that? I said, bro, I'm telling you, you said it. So I said to him, I said, look, at the end of the day, you've put yourself in a position where no one owes you anything. And they're not going to give you anything because of how this is transpiring. I said, but you can offer my man his value. I said, your thing was worth £300. He ain't worth £300. He's worth like a lot more. So if you pay him, he'll give you your verse. But you could have got that for nothing. So that's a really long way of answering your when have you seen a manager
No, it's fine.
getting. Yeah, no, you know what I'm saying? Because that was your original thing. It's like, when have you seen a manager create an obstacle? Yeah, a manager create an obstacle. That's probably one of the saddest ones where I was like, yo, that didn't need to happen. That was like you went out of your way to create that obstacle for £60.
Horrible.
Yeah.
Cool. DJ Turkish, thank you very, very much.
Hey, come on, bruv. Man, don't know this DJ Turkish, bruv. There's no DJ anymore.
Okay, sorry. Turkish Decipher.
Hey.
Producer and mix and master extraordinaire. Thank you very much for your time. I mean, we've done 41 minutes. It's been great. We've hit hard. We've gone straight to the gut. You know, no punches were pulled. And you explained it properly, and that's great.
Yeah, man.
Listen, I'd love to have you back on here a few more times. You know, it'd be great. We'll be doing regular live stream soon, so
whenever you
on different topics.
Whenever you want, bruv.
For sure.
The
where
legend.
Can people find you, bro?
Turkish Decipher everywhere, basically. Like Turkish, like the people. Decipher, like your second name. DCYPHA. On Twitter, on which I don't go on, so don't look for me there. Don't send me no messages on Twitter and complain about being ignored.
Very toxic place.
Yeah. Instagram's probably the best one. Like Instagram is like that's the one. So Turkish Decipher.
He's got some great work. He's worked with many of the songs that you listen to and love. So he gives it that crisp, fine-tuned sound that you know a lot of people ain't got. You know what I'm saying?
I try.
People, again, comment, like, subscribe. If you're in the chat, I think we got 7 people watching at the moment. We're a small channel. We're just trying to grow. So please, the people who are watching, please just like. If you got any questions, comment. Subscribe. Hit the notification button as well. That will be the bell. Hit that. So every time we go live or every time we post anything, you'll be able to see that. But yeah, thank you very much for your time. And T, thanks a lot.
Thanks for having me, bro.
We'll be in touch for sure.
Yeah,
This has been Game Told.